Today on the Flash Traffic Podcast, we talk about Trump and Hegseth meeting with the 800 fat generals. Okay, let's go.
Conflict, politics, military-industrial complex, technology, war. The Flash Traffic Podcast.
Happy government shutdown day to everyone out there.
Great
And
job,
you,
Trump
good sir.
administration.
Great job to the Democrats for not backing down and surrendering to Trump. Shut it down and don't ever open it up again. I'm fine with that. Shut the government down. The only ones that are really celebrating right now are government employees. They're like, yeah, free vacation, paid vacation. You think, oh, if you're those poor government employees, federal government employees, 3 million people, those poor 3 million people out of a job, not getting paid. No, they're not. They're fine. They're getting paid not to go to work. In fact, legally, they cannot work at all. It's not like they go home and do work on their home computer. Legally, they're not allowed to do anything, which is not too far from what they do on a day-to-day basis. But now
bullshit.
They're not allowed.
That's complete bullshit by you. Complete bullshit by you.
It might be a little bit bullshit.
Probably your experience in the Space Force, but yeah, not everywhere, bro.
Look, okay, I'm being facetious, but look, the only people this is hurting are the 330 other million Americans that have to rely on weird government services that should be outdated anyways, that computers and AI should be doing anyways, i.e. the post office. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, a never-ending stream of bullshit out of you, but that's what our traffickers expect. I had experienced a government shutdown before. I worked for the government for a number of years, and I think the government shut down in 2014 you just pick one. I'm just picking this one for 2 weeks. Sure. And I think people didn't show up for 2 weeks, and then they ended up getting back pay for it.
Yes.
So it was like a reverse vacation. But still, it creates a lot of uncertainty. They didn't want to go. They're there to work. They're there to do your job, and creates uncertainty and stress and all that jazz. But that's also a product of our government, and especially under the Trump administration. That's how they operate.
Do you think they get back from 2 weeks of paid vacation and they're like, oh, I have all this work to catch up on. I'm going to have to work extra hard. Nah.
Well, again, that may be your experience in the Space Force as a fake astronaut, but that's not everywhere in the government.
So Trump was threatening if there's a shutdown, he's going to give a lot of peak slips to a lot of government employees, and they're not coming back.
Right.
I don't know if that's going to happen.
Right. That's how wannabe dictators work. They don't give a shit about the workforce. They don't give about the people that make the government run. They care about themselves and their own petty agenda. That is Trump wrapped up in a bow.
What if they shut down? My question is, let's shut down the post office completely and just not open it back up. And then how hard will it be in 3 years from now when President Newsom tries to reverse all these? I know there's some Republicans out there like, that son of a bitch.
No, shutting down the post office is something so incredibly ill thought out and stupid. It's something probably the Trump administration is considering. If it is colossally ignorant and stupid, they will consider it. So that wouldn't surprise me.
A lot of countries have private postal services.
Like who?
If you need to send something,
we already have private postal services too.
Okay, then what do we need the post office for?
Cheaper. It's federally protected. It's a federal crime.
Is it cheaper? It's like $12 billion a year. Is that cheaper? Then the government could give UPS $12 billion and say, everybody in America gets to send whatever the fuck they want for free. Here's $12 billion. And UPS would be like, okay.
Then why not just keep the post office?
What do you mean? Because it's, okay, if you have to get a letter somewhere, A, do you take it to the post office? Or yes. B, do you take it to FedEx?
I go to post office. It's cheaper.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Possibly.
If it has to get there. If you don't want it lost,
if you don't want it all fucked up,
if you don't want it 3 days later
your
than
hair
it
treatment,
said it was going to be.
Like what? I mean, what the fuck do you need like so quickly?
What do you mean? You think people don't have things that actually have to get from point A to point B in our country?
I trust the post office.
Then you're a moron.
They do good job.
Idiot.
They do good work.
You can't even say that with a straight face.
I've used the post office my entire life. They are reliable. You can track stuff.
Oh, Jesus.
You can get insurance on it. I have never had a problem with the post office. Ever.
This is the most absurd conversation I think you and I have ever had.
So you want to privatize the military too, right? You want to pay Eric Prince
I thought we were talking about
to create a fake. Well, it's the same concept. Then just privatize everything.
Is flying nuclear bombers and shooting guns at other people,
how's any different?
The same as, next?
Yes, it is.
Putting a stamp. That'll be $5. You think that's the same? You think the Postal Service is the same as a
service
military?
Is a service. Government service is government service.
You
want to talk about private militaries? You want to talk about mercenary units that have been hired? Military's been privatized before. This ain't new. Hell, Alexander the Great's army ran on mercenaries in a cabal of private militaries that he strung together to clown the Persian Empire. The idea of a private military isn't new.
Entertain a comparison of the post office with the military. I will not even entertain it. You should be Pete Hegseth's speechwriter.
You know what? I would do a better job than that MAGA DEI hire sock puppet than he does now, where he just strokes his ego to cover up for the fact that he's completely unqualified for his job. This is one of the rare times where I am more qualified than a cabinet level official in the U.S. government. I am far more qualified than DEI hire Hegseth to do his job. And you can't say that very often. You're more qualified too.
For most things, but for giving a speech in front of 800 generals like he did yesterday, I think Pete Hegseth is extremely one of the most qualified individuals to do that.
To run his mouth.
To give a speech.
About things. Right. He can give a speech. He's a polished con man. And that's one of his skills. That's what he does. He and Trump just lie continuously to support their extreme radical right-wing agenda. No facts required, no experience required, no evidence required. Just talk shit and have everyone just sit there and just not respond.
Like every politician, like every cabinet member, like every general officer, just stand there and talk shit.
Every general officer is not qualified.
Just talking shit.
They're not qualified.
No, but when they get up to speak, they're just talking shit. Just like Hegseth did yesterday.
They're just talking shit. So this was an extremist right-wing MAGA political rally. You're going to say that's what generals do? Your head is so far up your ass. Like I can't even see your point of view.
I sat through. I listened and watched all of Hegseth's 45-minute speech.
And you're dumber for it.
And I am dumber for it. And then I watched maybe half of Trump's because I got into it. I'm like, this is the same old Trump bullshit.
I bet you became dumber in less time with Trump than you did with Hegseth.
I don't think so because I've heard it all before. But so yesterday, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, not Secretary of War, because it's not officially that.
Unqualified for his job.
The Department of Defense, still, until they change it officially.
By an act
of Congress. The Secretary of Defense, he recalled, I guess, they called it deploying to Quantico, Virginia, but he recalled all the 07 flag officers, 07 and above, to one building. For him to give a speech,
political
like
speech.
I said, lasted about 45. It wasn't political. It wasn't.
It was a political loyalty test.
Well, they had to go.
Well, just resign. Just resign if you don't like this, because that's how a mature CEO establishes loyalty in a large organization. It was a political rally.
Let's talk about Trump's speech first, because it really had less to do about anything than Hegseth. I found Hegseth's speech actually informative, but we'll talk about that. Let's talk about Trump's first. Trump went on for about an hour. And again, I only watched half of it because, yeah, exactly.
I saw some of it too. It was embarrassing. About what?
He rambled on about the Gulf of Mexico. He rambled on about how many wars he had stopped, how the election was rigged, how he loves the word tariffs. I love the word tariff. It's my favorite word, tariffs. He rambled on about bringing back the battleship.
What an idiot.
And he made a point to explain to the 800 general officers in the audience that battleships are not made of aluminum. They're made of steel. Thanks.
What a utter complete
for that
moron. From a perspective of a commander-in-chief, you couldn't be any more incompetent or inept than demented Don babbling about nonsensical stuff. How can you even say that his mental state is what a rational human has? How can you listen to anything he says and say this is a rational human? Can you say that? Oh, geez, here we go.
Let's listen to what he said about this. Just rambling on.
Rambling, demented Don.
When we go with the word war, and we want war because we want to have no wars, but you have to be there, and sometimes you have to do it.
Okay, what?
What the fuck is he saying?
What is he talking about? I have no idea.
I mean, where's his level of mental decline? We know when MAGA talks all this shit about Joe Biden and his cognitive decline, and I agreed, he did. We're all going to get it. If you think you're exempt from it, you're not. Where is demented Don on the cognitive decline? He's like your crazy drunk uncle with PTSD. What the fuck is
he saying?
From the Korean War.
Is the war.
We need
war, but we don't want war.
Of war.
But you gotta have war,
which isn't war.
Which causes war. Which is the only way to get out of war.
What is the teleprompter telling me?
What does his teleprompter actually say? Because he's so rambling, he's not following anything coherent. So
he has dementia. He is incoherent. He is babbling. He is rambling. No human can say it makes sense whatsoever. So
I don't think he uses the teleprompter.
He does. He has a heart attack when it goes down, because then he has to actually use his words and his own thoughts.
You think it's just pictures?
And there's nothing up there. It's probably pictures.
Or is it an AI generated episode of the Teletubbies? Right. And they're dancing. And then, one's dancing in Venezuela. And he's like, Venezuela, Gulf of America. Gulf of America. I see a Teletubby out there on the teleprompter. So that means Venezuela.
Objectively, you're in front of the senior military leadership of this country. Some guys who, guys put decades into the profession, who have sacrificed everything for this country. And you go up and look like a bumbling, 18-year-old who's got drunk for the first time at the frat party, babbling nonsense. How can anyone not be anything other than embarrassed for him?
But he does it all the time.
He does it all the time. His dementia is continuous. He's continually has dementia.
He did it in front of the United Nations. He does it in the Oval Office.
Correct.
He does it on the campaign trail. He would do it in your fucking living room if you invited him over for dinner. Like, that's why you can't.
If I invited him over for double cheeseburgers and double bacon and extra deep fries so he could sweat mayonnaise afterwards, correct.
It doesn't matter what Trump says.
An embarrassment.
Nobody cares.
Demented Don is an embarrassment to this country. He has cognitive decline. He has dementia. He's unable to speak correctly or intelligently. I would slap my teenage boys if this was like their presentation in like a science class at high school.
This is something they write idiots. The morning of. I have a teenage boy, and he does homework the morning he wakes up. and then he does his homework that he has to present in like an hour from now.
I wouldn't let a
That's what Trump
teenager
does.
do this. Correct. I would.
Anybody
give,
could write his speeches.
Right.
Anybody can write his speeches.
I give him
so
an
easy.
F minus. You are a failure
You get
at
an
what
F.
you're doing.
Look,
You're an F.
here's something else
demented.
he said.
You're not fit
I won't
to be in front of anybody ever.
I won't play this clip. I'll just read it. Here's something else he said, just rambling.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
And I'll read it
sure
in Trump's voice so you know who said it. I moved 2 submarines. I won't say about the 2 over the coast of Russia. Just to be careful because we can't let people throw around that word. I call it the N-word. There are 2 N-words and you can't use either of them. You can't use either of them. And frankly, it does get to
Are you actually quoting him?
Yes, I'm quoting him.
What an idiot.
And we have more than anybody else, end quote. He said we have 2
of which N-words do we have more of?
He means nuclear. Like that's one. And the other one is, of course, Nostradamus. So those 2 N-words that we're not allowed to say, nuclear.
What a babbling idiot.
What?
He makes Medvedev look like an academic. He makes Medvedev look like a PhD professor.
At least Medvedev is drunk when he goes on the air.
He is drunk.
Medvedev.
He is drunk when he goes on the air.
So he's got that too.
That's true.
I don't think
he's got
other
that
than
going for him.
chloropictin, I don't think Trump is on anything else. So
dementia has set in. He says erratic, nonsensical babble, which means nothing to anybody. I don't think it would make sense to him.
Look, it is nonsense, and we shouldn't take what he says seriously on almost anything, but he still says some scary shit. And then every now and then we have to perk up and say, okay, is this just Trump rambling about nonsense? Or is he got a deeper, more nefarious purpose for saying something like this?
Sure he does.
Here's an example. Here's an example.
Yeah.
We should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military, because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor, stupid. They threw him out of his family business. He was so stupid. I know the family. He becomes governor.
Trump, literally the dumbest human you've ever seen on a stage, is calling someone else stupid. That is rich. After hearing him babble about
the governor is a moron
nonsense about bringing battleships back, that is rich. Hearing him call anyone stupid when you look at him in his dementia and his nonsensical babbling on a regular basis. I mean, that's just rich.
Look, I will agree with him that J.B. Pritzker is a moron. Okay, I don't like that guy, the governor of Illinois, because he's a moron and he's duplicitous. And
but Trump isn't before. Oh, but Trump isn't.
Okay, well, can I just hate all duplicitous politicians then? That's my prerogative?
Okay, more rambling.
Yeah.
No data, just rambling. Nothing to base your opinion on.
We talked about it when he said he stood on the riverfront and he's like, "Hey, does it look like there's crime in Chicago?" Anyways, we talked about that earlier episodes.
So you think
J.B.
Trump
Pritzker, he's just like everybody else.
You think he's not just like everyone else. So you think Donald Trump, the draft dodging con artist, should send in the National Guard to conduct urban warfare training in American cities?
No, of course not.
Are you smoking fucking crack?
No, it's a terrible idea. So what did he mean by use them as training grounds?
I don't know. What does the wannabe dictator think of that? You tell me.
Training grounds for what? I mean, what could they be doing? Like kicking in doors, blocking intersections, setting up checkpoints? I mean, what training would they be doing? You know, how would they use it as
great example by a draft dodger who never spent a day in the military, never spent a day in combat, never spent a day doing public service. Again, speaking more nonsensical garbage, but also is scary if you think that morally that's right and that's something this country could do. That's the scary part, when the babbling idiot says something unhinged and is divisive and can create violence, and it's just an incredible waste all the way around. Right? That's when you're like, that's right when you sit up and you're like, is this fucking crazy dude serious about this? And yet he probably is. He is serious about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, are there crimes in American cities? Yes. Is the National Guard going to do anything about that? No, they're not going to do anything about it. And here's some statistics in case you were wondering.
For it. They're not equipped for it.
There are roughly 38 cities with a population of greater than 500,000 in the United States. Only 5 of them have Republican mayors, and 2 of those cities are barely, Fresno and Mesa, Arizona, barely make the cut. The 3 real cities that have Republican mayors are Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, and Oklahoma City. All the other ones are leaning Democrat or have a Democratic mayor. And that makes sense because urban areas are liberal areas. There are, in the United States, according to the 2020 census, there are 331 million Americans. 270 million live in urban areas. 61 million live in rural areas. That is a lot of people that live in the urban areas. So I think even if Republicans somehow magically started to control the cities, they would still have the same problems. It's not a liberal. It's not liberal political leaning that's causing crime and violence in cities. It's human beings causing crime and violence. You take the 60 million, corn-fed rural MAGAs and put them in LA and put them in Chicago and put them in St. Louis, which is the worst, right? Still going to have the same problems, maybe more, because then you're going to have a bunch of people with guns driving around with their guns, shooting people. What do you think about that?
What you said.
Anyways, God bless the Electoral College, where 60 million Americans can elect a president over the wishes of 270 million other people and people that just don't vote.
A lot of people don't, but the single biggest block is non-voters. Yeah,
that's a shame. We need to get more people out there because if these numbers are correct, there's 270 million people that live in the cities and are primarily liberal leaning, and there's only 60 million Americans, and I don't know how many voting Americans that would be. So that would be about minus about 20% of that is non-voting because they're too young.
But shows you the apathy of the American populace, just apathetic and not involved in the running of this country.
Yeah, 60 million Americans that live in rural areas that are uneducated, uncultured for the most part. They should not be making decisions for the other 270 million Americans that live in rural areas. That's just my opinion. I'm biased. I live in rural areas. Yeah, okay. I mean, but that's what James Madison had in mind with the Federalist Papers. Federalist 10, preventing factions, because likewise, you don't want 270 million liberal, blue hair, left-leaning Antifa people making decisions for 60 million rural Americans. You wouldn't want that either. They would get rid of all their guns. There would be no post offices. You would not be allowed to jack up your pickup truck. These are things that would happen. You could get an abortion if you wanted to in Oklahoma. You could go to college in Alabama. These are the things that would happen if the liberals took over. So we don't want that either. James Madison had that. Our founding fathers had that in mind when we had. This is not a civics lesson, but okay. I digress. Should we move on let's move on to Hegseth's speech.
Jesus.
Okay.
Good God.
Like, I thought for the most part, I thought it was a pretty good speech. It was basically telling these, so he had a lot of things in his speech. Some of it was, basically telling the officers the general officers and flag officers, admirals, that look, we're going to focus on war fighting. We're getting rid of all the liberal policies that have been handed down from the Biden administration and the Obama administration
and the Trump administration.
Probably some for the Trump
because
administration.
you didn't know that Trump was president before, and the Trump administration.
Right. So we're winding back the clock on some of those policies, especially when it comes to combat arms. Everybody in combat arms will be evaluated at the male standard at 70% of PT program. That probably, if I had to guess, that's probably going to hit the artillery the worst. I think artillery, and don't quote me, I think the artillery branch in the Army has the most females in combat arms. Is that right?
I don't know.
Maybe it's right. I don't know either. I'm just guessing. Let's see some of the things that Hegseth said. Let's just watch a clip. Let's start off with a Hegseth clip from this morning.
Foolishly, to challenge us, they will be crushed by the violence, precision, and ferocity of the War Department. In other words, to our enemies, F-A-F-O. If necessary, our troops can translate that for you.
He is uniquely qualified to have no comment on the topic.
He said F-A-F-O, fuck around and find out, to our enemies.
Yeah, that's pretty deep. That's intellectually deep, Hegseth.
You're
an intellectual giant. You're an intellectual giant.
If I was the Venezuelans, I'd be scared, merdless, if I were the Venezuelans. So he also talked about, quote, bullying and hazing, end quote, have been bastardized and weaponized. And so it's okay to do a little hazing. It's okay to do a little bullying in our military. Holy shit. He just opened up the door to Code Red. Did you order the Code Red? Yeah.
But but that's not surprising from an unqualified talk show host who is a major in the National Guard and was qualified to be a staff officer on a battalion staff, if he even did that. Spoken like a guy who doesn't understand the breadth and depth of the military, and how could he? He's a MAGA sock puppet who's been hired to mouth whatever Trump tells him to do. He has no military experience or training requisite for his position, doesn't understand the depth or history of the military, and why certain things were gone away with, like, I don't know, hazing.
Yeah,
like just throwing it out there. Like maybe you didn't know that there was a reason for this, bro.
It's complex. I mean, he's not going to fix the military. He's not going to fix it overnight, and this guy is not going to fix it at all. But he also said, quote, stupid rules of engagement, end quote. And he talked about a risk-adverse leadership culture in the military. Okay, well, that also opens us up to some more crimes. Define that.
Each one of those you could do a PhD thesis on.
Yeah, well.
Simplistic bumper sticker with no depth.
There are going to be more than one, I predict, more than one Venezuelan village that's going to be completely flattened because of something that... because of something the Hegseth said.
What's the strategic logic?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, when we go into Venezuela, when we start the war with Venezuela,
why?
No reason, because Trump wants it. Yeah, let's look at what he said about acquisition reform. I thought this was interesting.
Okay. No, that could be useful. Does he know anything about acquisition policy?
Probably not. But let's just.
That doesn't matter. He doesn't either.
You see, this urgent moment, of course, requires more troops, more munitions, more drones, more Patriots, more submarines, more B-21 bombers. It requires more innovation, more AI in everything and ahead of the curve, more cyber effects, more counter-UAS, more space, more speed. America is the strongest, but we need to get stronger and quickly. The time is now, and the cause is urgent. The moment requires restoring and refocusing our defense industrial base, our shipbuilding industry, and onshoring all critical components. It requires...
There you go.
Fair enough.
That's the key. Has to put in the military industrial complex plug right there. Our budget's going to be $1 trillion for the military. And he's also going to try to reform it while growing it, while pandering to the military industrial complex, because we need more, because everything is urgent, because a lack of an existential threat to the Department of Defense is an existential threat. So Venezuela threatens our livelihood. We will have to increase our defense budget by 1.5 trillion because of Venezuela, of course.
Now,
so we had to get the plug in there.
Everything he said on the face of it, yes. Each probably 3 or 4 words he used is a many-year endeavor. You can roll out these buzzwords for sure, and I got it. But that also goes to, do you have the depth of character and knowledge and experience and education to orchestrate all of this? Now, you want AI and everything that you just bit off 20 years. Do you understand that? Do you realize that? I was in the acquisition process. I dealt with AI and ML and how grossly unprepared, the military
What's
is
ML?
for
What's ML?
machine learning.
Oh, machine learning. Yep.
Where a lot of folks are like, yeah, you call it AI, it's really machine learning. You want AI, you're not there. You really just have machine learning, a step down. Having said that, everything he said, sure, sounds good in the face of it. Do you understand the depth of what you just said? Onshoring every critical component. Do you understand that? Do you understand the commodities supply chains that you need to make that possible? So my question is, for an unqualified guy with no education in the field, do you understand the depth of what you just said? And can you orchestrate this moving forward? That should be an obvious question.
Yeah, every SecDef tries to reform acquisitions in the Department of Defense. Sure. Every SecDef, and we've gotten some good results, like the Army of Drones or whatever. We've gotten DIUX, which is basically spending money on Silicon Valley companies that are not going to help the military. We've gotten some really good ones, a lot of good reforms recently. So it's all bullshit. He's not going to be able to do it. I don't think anybody could do it effectively. It's just too big. It's a leviathan.
I'm like, hey, give it a shot. I mean, you got to try, but you just can't talk about it, and you have to understand the depth of this and what it takes. And it takes more than just saying, hey, do this.
Well, building battleships out of steel, not aluminum, that seems like not reform. That seems like regression. I don't understand. How many battleships are you going to build? What a I mean, even the Ford class aircraft carrier is completely obsolete now. I mean,
I got 2 words for you: cruise missile.
Ridiculous.
That's why the battleship has no role anymore. Cruise missile, 200-mile range.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
So what are you going to do? You want to drive your battleship up to the coast, up the river, and bomb the city on the river? You won't even make it within like a day of that. You'll be sunk.
It's another one of those things that Trump says that we shouldn't listen to. It's ridiculous.
Nonsense. But that's the commander-in-chief giving guidance to his SecDef. Are we going to see like ass clowns in Newport News building like a new battleship?
They're going to be
USS
building something.
Mar-a-Lago, like some ridiculous waste piece of shit equipment that we don't need.
It's like the F-47, the new strike fighter.
We need more B-2s.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. He's not going to be able to do it. No one can really do it. The rest of his speech, the rest of his speech was basically the military, and especially you fat generals out there are fat. You got to do PT.
Hey, did you look at your commander-in-chief? Did you look at your commander-in-chief?
Yeah, right.
He sweats bacon grease. So, but your commander-in-chief is your example of fitness that you should strive for.
70-plus-year-old politician, businessman versus a lifetime military officer.
Your commander-in-chief. You signed up for it.
I get it, but look,
Be the commander in chief.
And being
Get
in
on the
shape
treadmill. Get on the treadmill, bro.
Are you done? Or you keep talking?
No, I'm not
about
done. Get on the exercise bike. Eat a salad.
Okay, it's tough to be in shape when you're 60. You know, some of those 4-star generals
Of course it is. Everything gets harder when you get older.
And 73% of U.S. adults aged 20 and over are classified as overweight or obese. 73% of Americans.
Oh
I think only 30% of flag officers are overweight. So they're a lot less than general population. And most of those are in the Air Force.
Whatever, you're just talking shit. Yeah, it gets so in the military. So it gets harder, and the more rank you get, the more responsibility you get. You understand, to make general, you don't have a life. Your life is the military. Right. You don't have a life with your spouse. You don't have a life with your kids. You don't have a life with anything outside the military. You are on schedule 7 days a week. You might be home for a day or an afternoon, but I guarantee you're answering your phone. I guarantee you're answering email. Who was the Marine general? God, my memories, where he retired. He said he worked. This doesn't air, the former chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff, Marine general.
Not Kavanaugh.
Got out.
Kavanaugh.
No, he got out in like 2018. No, he got out in 2019. Anyways, he came out to Harvard, talked to us. An impressive guy. He works 7 days a week.
Mad Dog? Maddox?
No, not Mattis.
I don't know.
Anyways, so he's like...
Was he the STRATCOM commander? Was he a STRATCOM commander?
Yeah, I thought he was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Before, I don't know.
I'll look it up right now.
An impressive guy. He's like, my only time off was church on Sunday morning. He works 7 days a week. Now, fortunately for him, he was like a tall, skinny guy, but the stress on the senior leadership, Dunford, and he's an impressive guy, very impressive.
Joe Dunford.
Yeah, your life is not your own, and you're right. It does get harder and harder unless you're blessed with good genetics. You know what? You got to work out, dude, and it's hard for these guys to find time to work out with the workload you put on these guys. I got it. Okay. So, hey, give it a shot.
But you signed up for being a 4-star general, and if you can't cut it, just quit. Your country, your military, your army, your country, they're not going to miss you. Somebody else will replace you, and it'll be just fine. And you can go get your job on the board of Raytheon, and you can use your contacts while you're in the military to further Raytheon's agenda. And you can get $300,000 a year for doing nothing on the board except using your contacts from your former mentees that took your previous job.
But know what you got to do?
You can just use
these
that
guys a PT test.
Yeah, there you go.
Because these guys don't take a PT test anymore. They just write it up. You would have to sit there and be like, hold his feet, do the sit-up. You got to do a push-up. Okay, sit there.
Oh, General, that was a great push-up. That was a great. Oh, you went. Oh, wow, he's so fast. Like that. Good job, General. They'll fake it. They're not going to keep him.
But it's interesting
not going to hold him to standard.
Having cosplay Hegseth lecture, the senior military corps on standards, when the lowest standards ever has been applied to him. No standards have been applied to him. He has no education. He hasn't been to the war college. He hasn't been to a military fellowship. So he's lecturing these guys on standards, and I got it. But you are the most unqualified person to hold anyone accountable for anything when you've done nothing to achieve your position.
What about strange McNamara? They said the same thing about McNamara. Oh, I think he was a Ford motor executive, has no experience in the military.
Ran a corporation,
blah, blah, blah.
Ran an organization. What Hegseth run besides his mouth?
Well, they were all resentful they were all resentful of McNamara because he was changing a bunch of things, using math and science to change the Department of Defense.
How'd that work out? During what period of time?
I think he was Kennedy for sure, and I think he was Nixon. Kennedy Nixon.
Oh, Vietnam War. How'd that work out for you? Great job.
Better than it would have. How about that? Maybe it's better.
we got kicked out and defeated in longer time than we would have. He was one of the whiz kids, right?
Yeah, he was the original whiz kid. I guess.
He was a whiz kid. You know what?
Hey, let's
thank you for your service.
Yeah,
I thank him for his service.
Let's conclude this whole Trump Hegseth motivational
debacle
speech. Motivation is like a shower. You need it every day. In your case, like every week. And these generals got a nice little motivational enema. So I'm okay with most of the things he said. Yeah, there's in shape generals, there's fat slobby generals, just like anywhere else. And if he's going to kick out the 30% that are overweight and slobby, then good for him. A lot of the things Hegseth said, I thought were good. And, there's some critiques of this. Oh, generals are busy. You can't bring all the general flag officers, admirals and generals to one place because they're busy. They got things to do. No, they don't. No, they're not busy. Look, they general officers do three things.
Okay,
yeah, they keep busy.
You are right now a certified
busy.
Dumb fuck. Oh, but continue, please.
Hold on.
This
is only coming since I was general staff for a terrible year of my life. And I saw exactly how the sausage is made from a general's perspective. And I will tell you that they do three things. They do a lot of these three things, and they're always busy, like you said. But general officers do three things. One, they listen to briefings from people that are actually doing shit. And they make decisions based on those people's recommendations. That's the first thing they do. The second thing is they give briefings to politicians and higher general officers basically on what the people below them that are doing shit are actually doing. And the number three things that general officers do is they give speeches. They give terrible speeches. And none of those 800 generals sitting in that auditorium yesterday would have given that speech anywhere as good as Pete Hegseth gave that speech yesterday. I can guarantee you none of them are as good a public speaker as Pete Hegseth. Not a single one of them. None of them.
Now we see why you bounced out of your career when you did. Your grasp of the military and what it takes and what they do, you could fit on the back of a postage stamp.
So
that's
argument
cool.
One, this was a distraction to those very important general officers. No, it wasn't. Argument two, it was a waste of money to bring them all to Quantico.
Yeah, it was a waste of money.
It was. We waste money all the time. Did you know that if you are a 3-star flag officer, you rarely fly civilian airliners? You take a private jet. If you're a 3-star or higher, you have a kind of a timeshare with other 3-stars. And I think 4-star generals get their own private jet. And we're talking G5. The Army, the military calls it a C-37.
Is there a point to this? Is there a point to this at all? What's the point?
They're wasting money. Have the generals fly their coach. General officers hate to fly civilian airliners. Have them fly coach.
You truly are reaching moronic levels of assessment. And it is not surprising coming from you because this is pretty regular with you. So you think that, the commanding general of like Afghan forces should wait in line for 3 hours to get on bitch class coach somewhere on American Airlines, do a 3-hour layover, lose his luggage, and then come out on the other side 12 hours later, because that's how like important things get run.
You do have a point there.
Now I see why you've done what you did in the military and why you do and where you are now.
Okay,
literally,
you do have a point there.
Dumbest fucking
I said
thing
you have a
you've
point.
said lately.
You keep deriding me, even though I'm agreeing with you.
Fine.
Last one, security, like having 800 all the generals and admirals in one place. Security. What if they send a drone in there?
Sure. I got it, but
it reminds me. It reminds me of Inglorious Bastards, where Hitler and all his staff and all the generals in the German army were in the theater, and they burned it down and killed everybody. Spoiler alert. That's how it ends. Alternate fictional universe. They kill Hitler. That would go on the list too. Inglourious Bastards as one of our flash traffic war movies on the list. Would you say that?
I haven't seen it. Saw parts of it.
What?
Too hokey.
You haven't seen it?
I saw snippets of
hokey.
it. It didn't grab my attention. I'm like, this is weird.
It's just gratuitous violence. If you like gratuitous violence, then that's it. Yeah, but those guys are replaceable. Kill them all. There's plenty of colonels that would do just as good a job as those general officers. What do you think of that? Okay, I'm being facetious on the last part. We don't want it. Anyways, do you want to end on a video?
Why not?
Okay. I got a couple of them. Let's start with this video, because we talked a lot about Venezuela today, and it could be going down. Let's watch these guys. This is the Venezuelan Navy practicing. Okay, very impressive. That's great. Wow.
If I'm Venezuela, just giving some advice, I would not have a naval dependent strategy. No. I would not have anything that floats in the open on the water as part of your strategy.
They were shooting that 60 cal or whatever it is. They were shooting it like 400 meters out there. Like, what do they think we're going to do? We're going to roll up broadside to their ships and have the Trump
battleship battle? Yeah, the Trump battleship wants to do that.
Are we going to have a cannon broadside battle with the Venezuelan Navy? We're going to destroy that ship before they even know what happened.
Hey, Venezuela, please do not have a ship floating in open water strategy. It doesn't not going to work out for you.
Venezuela, the best you can do now, if we start a war with Venezuela, the best that they can do is just scuttle all their ships instantly, because we're going to destroy them. Just save us the time. You will not have a Navy 5 minutes after we get done with the Venezuelan. It's just ridiculous. Hey, I wanted to show this. Maybe we'll keep this. I'll keep this video for Friday so we can War Week Friday. It's about, I'll just give you a little preview of this video. We're not going to show it. The Ukrainians claim that one of their FPV operators killed 61 Russians in one day with FPV drones. We'll discuss it Friday. Discuss it Friday. Let's end on this. Let's end on this video. We'll come back to that one Friday. Okay, this is simply Poland's new F-35 jets making a low pass over Drake Field in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
I'll say, please don't crash.
No, they don't crash.
Thank goodness.
Okay. How impressive is that? Seriously. The F-35. Good job, Poland. Now you have two of them. About 100 million.
That's the one that's 100 mil, right?
Yeah. About 100 million piece.
That's part of the rearmament of Europe, and they're spending a lot of money on it. Poland, especially on paper, probably has the largest military in Europe. If you're talking equipment, like capital equipment, tanks,
well, that thing,
artillery, APCs, like I think they got the largest army in Europe.
Yeah. Well, that particular piece of kit is just so impressive. Plus it's stealth. You can't see it on radar. You can go anywhere you want. No one's going to touch you. It's just super impressive. And Europe, if you guys want the next version of that, you need to shut the fuck up. That's all I'm going to say, because the Typhoon and the Eurofighter and all that other garbage that you're putting out doesn't hold a candle to good old fashioned American military industrial power. And we're coming out with the F-47. You're going to want that. Europe, I guarantee you're going to want it. It's really good. I've been told it's the best fighter out there. I didn't name it. Boeing came in and they named it. And I said, I thought about it for 2 seconds. I said, yes. Yeah. Anyways, that's my.
Maybe Trump will come back with dirigibles. Let's bring back the airship.
Hey, we are working on that. High altitude airships. There is some promise there.
That would go hand in hand with his battleship. That's not made out of aluminum.
Balloons. We want balloons not made out of steel, because I've been told it's too heavy. They're made out of some kind of plastic. All right. Good chat.
God, let's end this mercifully. End this freaking session.
Okay.
Good God.
Good chat. Hey, if you like the Flash Traffic podcast, please get off your ass and help us out.
Yeah.
And
we have a lot of
just
deep
forward
intellectual
discourse
help us
on
out.
This
station.
Yeah. Help us out as displayed by today's
deep
discourse. Yes. Intellectual discourse today on Trump and Hegseth. Okay. War We Friday coming up. We'll see you on Friday. Okay. Bye-bye.
The Flash Traffic Podcast.